This is a customer, happens to be AXcademy. Well, they don't have much credit. In this, I'd like to show you what has changed on the tab of credit and collection, on the action pane on the action tab, and on the related information pane on the right-hand side. So stay tuned for a lot of things happening in a fairly short time. On the fast tab called credit and collections, we got a lot of new fields. Well, I framed the ones which are new, and then I had to point out there's actually one already existing, but it was in a group which is by and large new. So we did have credit limit before. We had some of the other fields as well. Let's see how many new things are happening in here. One of the big things, well, small thing that brings big joy to me at least, is that if you don't set a credit limit is 0. It was not like that before. Now we have to force unlimited credit limit, as you can see with the slider or yes, no box over here. You can still override credit management, so the customer is not included, and then an awful lot of other things. The most important thing right now to me is the total credit limit. For this customer, the credit limit stated is 0. The customer's currency, if it was different from the accounting currency in US manufacturing, where it is US dollars, it would then be calculated using an exchange rate type that we select in the parameters, so yet another purpose for exchange rate types. We then got calculated fields in here for insurances and guarantees, and those insurances and guarantees we set up in the credit management action tab, where in the related information I can have one or multiple insurers and guarantees. That would then add up to an amount. Maybe 100%, maybe 50%, maybe for each it would be different. So under insurance and guarantees, you got a list of the insurance and guarantees, including dates and some other kind of markers, and a percentage, which I would think is important. So that being summarized will then bring in an amount into the insurance and guarantees, which will then be added on top of the credit limit, being sort of the normal credit limit or any temporary credit limits assigned. Temporary credit limits needs to be going through kind of like a channel. And that's some of the setup we'll see later on, that we will need to set up a number sequence for this kind of journal-like experience. Whether you go through the menu, or if you hit the credit limit adjustments up here, we can adjust both the sort of the permanent credit limit or the temporary credit limits. This will be the tool, and it's exactly the same one, whether you address it from in here with the customer or if you select it from the menu. In fact, it is so much the same that even if I start from in here on the customer, it forgets what customer it was about. So basically I start from scratch, creating similar to a journal-like experience with a head, and then I create the lines. That is the credit limit adjustment lines afterwards. Depending on a parameter, I can edit the credit limit directly. Or of course, if the parameter doesn't allow me, I can't, and then I have to go through a credit limit adjustment up here. Temporary credit limits always go through the credit limit adjustments. That's the only place where I can do that. And once I've done it, then I can see the temporary credit limits up here on the action tab in the related information. But wait, there's more. We also got the related information on the right-hand side as usual. There is a new fact box, credit statistics, and this has been calculated based on what we set up in the parameters. So when I set up things in the parameters, it has been reflected over here with some of the text which is being displayed. And of course, then the actual transactions, credit limit, and so on is being calculated based on my setup in the parameters. And there is a refresh button. So if I'm having a look at that, and just before I start barking up the customer's tree or whatever will happen, then I refresh the screen, and then it's nice and easy going once again. There's actually more. I mentioned 2 new fact boxes, and one is sort of, it's so far down I couldn't actually have it on a screenshot if it was supposed to be readable, so I just brought it up on here. Insurance and guarantees, and this will just show a short list of the things that I have on my action tab under related information in the insurance and guarantees. So basically it's a short list, so I don't have to look it up on the credit management action tab and in the insurance and guarantees. There's a lot of other things in here. You don't have to put everything to use immediately. The things about the credit limit are the easiest ones. Then we got information boxes and other things too in here, which of course is easy too. And then we got the things about status and other things too, which is perhaps with risk calculations and so on. So is the credit management group. Please note that the credit management group is not the same as the customer credit group. The customer credit group, which we'll come back to in just a second, is the one that allows you to group customers in the same or in different legal entities and calculate the credit limit in total for those, not based on the individual, but on the group level credit limit. So start simple and then move on to do some of the other things. And the most tricky things, and actually in my experience, not working perfectly well yet, is the risk assessment, the risk scores. I'll come back to that.